Botwood is an incredibly underrated town in Newfoundland. Just basically out for a stroll in a small town, and I'm about to see a bunch of really cool stuff, and it's just something that, you know, as often as I say, you gotta get out and see Newfoundland. A lot of the places that you go to, you can't just walk around and see stuff. A lot of the places require a vehicle. The sites are like natural wonders and they're spread out. And without a car, it's really hard to get around. But I started this video at a mural. There's two murals that are kind of one. And that's what Botwood's kind of known for. There's a few things, but one thing in particular is the murals that they have here. And I'm just gonna walk and show you a couple as I'm going. Now over here, off in the distance, there's one called the Water Nipper. This is actually the first one that was painted, I guess, first one commissioned by the Botwood Mural Art Society. So if there's roughly 20 murals right now, this one over here is the one that kick-started it all. It's the one that, it was the first one that started it all. That's what I'm trying to say here. Here's one. This is another one across the street. We'll walk past, you'll see it. Here's another mural. Let's take a look. One more mural here. It's on the post office. See the Botwood post office sign? Oh, here's the sign here. Yeah, another one by Charlie Johnston. I could tell it was just by looking at it. Just has that same style. It's beautiful. I really enjoy this one. But it has, you know, it's on the post office, so it reflects mail. I'm staying at what's called the Exploits Hotel or something. Anyways, the hotel in town I'm staying there. There's a mural on the side of that I'll show you as well. So where I started, I was going for a walk. Like I said, it's a mid-March, nice day. It's no wind at all. It's probably 3 or 4 degrees. It's not warm, but it's not cold. And like I said, you're just walking around in a town like Botwood. It's just a walkable community with the murals that are really nice. So I'm coming up on another one right now. I believe it's from the same artist because it kind of looks the same. Hey, how are you doing? So this is Dr. Toomey. He's somewhat of a legend in this town, it seems. He's the namesake for the hospital here. This is one of the ones by Charlie Johnston. It's called The Pulse of the Community. And we have the M is for Murals book by, I think it's Trudy Stuckless. She's involved with the Mural Art Society here in Botwood still, but this is how I found out about the murals. There's a book that introduced all of the murals a couple of years ago, and the book was current, like the cache of murals was current at the time, but they added a couple more since that book came out. But this Charlie Johnston guy's in the book, and one of the stories is about how he paints with both hands, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm not going to take you on a tour of the complete collection of murals. I'm hoping that I can sort of plant the seed and entice you to come out and see it for yourself. I'm not an expert on the paintings. I'm not qualified to take you on a proper tour, but there actually is a Botwood Mural Art Society. They are qualified to take you on a tour, and they offer tours, at least in the standard tourism season. I don't know how severe winters get in Botwood, but I can tell you right now, it doesn't feel very severe at all, but it is mid-March, but there's not a breath of wind. It's crisp, but it's not cold. So, you know, I don't know, maybe winters aren't as bad in Botwood as they are in St. John's, but it's a beautiful little town. And as you can notice me, I'm walking. This isn't weird. Like, I think this is a very walkable town. And the murals are kind of like the calling card for the town right now, but the way that they're laid out, you can walk around and catch all of them. There's a couple that are like a little bit outside of the main street. I'm not sure what the street's called. I have to find, well, I'm gonna walk up on a street sign in a moment and I'll let you know what the actual street is called. Maybe Church Street? Anyway, most of the murals are along this strip that I'm walking right now, but there are a few that are sort of dispersed in a few different areas. But it's not a huge town. It's not a hard thing to get around and see all of them in any case. But if you have a vehicle, you can see a few more. But that's sort of the thing. Like, this is a beautiful little Newfoundland town. Beautiful naturally, but also beautiful because of the murals. And the thing that's different about this town compared to like so many other touristy towns is that you can get out and walk around and keep yourself occupied. You can, whether it's looking for the murals or just having a town that you can get out and walk in. It's not that common around Newfoundland, especially in the wintertime. Well, Botwood has a really interesting history. You know, it's one of those communities in Newfoundland that was involved with the fishery for sure, but it isn't a standard typical fishing town. It was a lot of lumber, and it was involved with, like, you know, pulp and paper, kind of providing lumber and lumber for other resources as well, but it was a lumber community. Also has a very important role to play in aviation in Newfoundland's history, but in the world as well. Gander's better known as a site for aviation because it has the big airport. Well, it's not that big anymore actually, but there's a bunch of notable transatlantic flights that took off from Botwood. Botwood's interesting because it is, I mean, for a Newfoundland town, it is a small town, but for a Newfoundland town, it's definitely sizable. There's businesses that are operating, whereas, you know, you go to some towns and there's literally nowhere to go to eat, and the grocery store's in the next town over or whatever, but this place has enough services to satisfy the town itself, and is somewhat of a service center. Springdale is just down the road, and then a little bit, or sorry, not Springdale, Bishop's Falls, and then Grand Falls, Windsor is just a little further down again, and that's, you know, definitely one of the major centers for all of central Newfoundland. But this place sustains itself, so it's got some kind of an economy here. But Botwood is one of the communities that's talked about for the all the green hydrogen and the wind farms and everything. You know, people talk about Stephenville mostly because the biggest one seems to be there, but one of the other ones that's being planned right now is actually going to set up potentially here in Botwood. So, like, whether you have a strong opinion on wind farms or not, you know, knowing that Botwood is being sort of pinned as one of the home bases for one of these companies that's potentially going to set up, going through the whole environmental assessment process and everything right now. But this community, starting from what seems to be, you know, relatively healthy, economically speaking, there's a chance for it to really take hold. It's been up and down over the years, over, you know, a number of different industries, aviation, logging, and like just general forestry. Wasn't like a super strong fishing history here like there was in most communities around Newfoundland, but there's definitely some history with fishing here. Of course, it is on the water, but this potential for the wind farms and green hydrogen and all that is kind of exciting. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm gonna be watching that fairly closely. So, you know, come out and see this. It's a cute town. You know, if you're heading out anywhere around central Newfoundland, come see the town anyway. But the murals are the big fat cherry on top that really make a trip to Botwood. It gives you a target, something to do while you're here specifically. I come here every chance I get. This is probably my 4th time passing through in the past 2 or 3 years. I've never been here before that, but I like to come through and see a town that kind of feels like Newfoundland and kind of doesn't, in the best possible way.